just talking about it. We have a pretty bad drive tomorrow night when we get out of work, right?
The height of the storm will be right around midnight tomorrow night. And I'm really most concerned about the rain. I think a lot of people have heard, the possibility for wind and power outages.
Yep.
And that's important too, but I think all of us will be impacted by this heavy rain. And it'll be tough getting around tomorrow night and early Monday morning.
Yeah, so definitely take it easy on the roads.
You bet. Let's start with a look at the advisories that have been issued. A flood watch for the entire state for tomorrow through Monday, and then a wind advisory for the shoreline of New Haven, Middlesex, and New London counties. This is where the wind will be gustiest and the highest chance for some outages out of this storm. By far, though, the rain is the biggest impact out of this storm. And each model run that's come in over these last couple of days is adding a little bit more to the bucket. So the concerns are pretty high for flooding rain. Wind and outages, I'd call it a moderate risk, especially if you're along the shoreline. If you're farther inland, not much of a problem. The good news is the height of the wind does not come during a high tide. It's kind of in between high tide, around low tide. So coastal flooding, not a major issue here, but there could be some splash over at the shore. And I'll show you in a minute or two, we could actually end with some snow in the hills Monday morning. So a couple of things to keep in mind for tomorrow. If you have a storm drain in front of your house, clear it out, check your sump pump, and secure any outdoor decorations because the wind will be gusty enough to blow those around tomorrow night just about everywhere. Right now it's 45 in Hartford and in New Haven, but I wanted to point out there is some dense fog in spots. Visibility in Chester is 0, so if you're traveling tonight, be aware that you may run into some of this patchy dense fog. Here comes the storm, though. It's moving through the middle of the country. There's been severe weather today and tornadoes in parts of Tennessee, and all of this is coming north, and it's coming with milder air. This time tomorrow night will be around 60 degrees. So let's go through the timeline here. A dry start tomorrow morning, but there may still be some areas of fog at 6 or 7 in the morning. Showers begin developing around 10 or 11, and there could be a couple of embedded downpours into the early and mid-afternoon, but it's kind of off and on rain during the day. The rain really starts to pick up, as does the wind tomorrow evening into tomorrow night. This is 6 o'clock with a good band of some rain over the middle of the state, and we'll have periods of rain through the night. But then around about 10 or 11 o'clock, it looks like a squall line will be crossing through the state. This could have some thunder, and out ahead of it in this warm air, we'll have the strongest winds. So the height of this thing is about midnight tomorrow night through the early hours of the morning in southeast Connecticut. And then it does look like this band of rain should be moving out around sunrise, and we could end as a little bit of wet snow up in the hills. A widespread 2 to 4 inches of rain expected, but the models are suggesting there could be some amounts over 5 inches of rain. And if that comes to fruition, we'll have a big problem with not only poor drainage flooding, but also some smaller the streams and smaller rivers could be on the rise and coming out of their banks by Monday morning. Here's a look at the wind, not nearly as widespread as the rain. 8 o'clock tomorrow night, it's really southeast Connecticut, and that pretty much remains the theme. The strongest winds stay over the eastern side of the state, and we haven't changed the wind forecast from yesterday. 45 to 55 miles per hour in southern and eastern Connecticut. That's where the highest risk for outages will be. So rain and wind, the main concern here, but it could end as a little bit of wet snow in the northwest hills. Here's a look at your next 7 days. Showers tomorrow morning, turning into a heavier rain later in the day, with the height of the storm being tomorrow night. It is a wet start Monday morning, but the afternoon turns drier. There could be a few snow flurries that mix in up in the hills. A dry day on Tuesday. May have a few flurries inland on Wednesday, and then Thursday looks chilly before we rebound the temperatures into the end of next week. No real winter in